Hello, Mr. Duck. Today we would like to have a video recording our presentation of group assignment topic 2, which is risk and return. In this report, we are going to explain the ideas of using 1 billion Vietnam dong to invest in an equally weighted portfolio, which include 5 stocks are involved in Ho Chi Minh Stock Exchange. About the outline of the presentation, the first two members is going to talk about the company's introduction. Hello, Mr. Duck. Today we would like to have a video recording our presentation of group assignment topic 2, which is risk and return. In this report, we are going to explain the ideas of using 1 billion Vietnam dong to invest in an equally weighted portfolio, which include 5 stocks are involved in Ho Chi Minh Stock Exchange. About the outline of the presentation, the first two members is going to talk about the company's introduction, while the second one will give comments on annual average return and total risk, and the last person will analyze the systematic risk and identify the portfolio's minimum variance. The first company is Vietnam National Petroleum Group, which has the stock ticker is PLX. The companies majorly focus on its petroleum product and oil-related services, such as gas, oil sales, and transportation. Apart from that, they are now investing more on engineering, installations, insurance, construction, and banking, and other commercial activities is achieving considerable success. Petrolimex start from the equitizations and restructuring of Vietnam National Petroleum Corporation. The precursor of the company was the Oil Look and Grease Corporation, set up in 1956. During its 55 years of constructing, developing, Vietnam National Petroleum Group has always been the leader in the national oil industry and faithfully accompanied the historic defense and construction of the country. About the ownership structures, the company owns more than 1 billion shares according to this stock. Domestic organizations own more than third-fourth of the Petrolimex shares, which is about 76.7%, while foreign organizations take up the second largest proportion, with 8.1%, and other belong to treasury share and domestic individuals. About the financial performance, the companies observed a significant drop in net revenues and gross profit in 2020 due to the COVID-19 lockdown restrict people from traveling. The annual average return of the company is 0.17 and its standard deviations is about 0.11. The second company is Development Investment Construction GS Corporation, which has the stock ticker is DIG. The business line of the company focus on two parts: real estate investment with home, land, hotels, and resorts, and financial investment concentrates on construction material, tourism, and trade investment. About its history, there are three significant timelines that mark the development of the companies. First is its establishment in 1990, and second is it became a joint stock company with capital of 370 billion Vietnam dong in 2008, and the last one is ranked 127 out of 500 in country's most profitable private enterprise in 2018. About its ownership structures, domestic owns under 5% constitute the largest proportion of the company's ownership structures with 38.4%. Domestic and foreign owns under 5% respectively 21.7% and 21.3% of the company structures, while the rest belong to foreign owns under 5%. About its financial performance, uh, the company observed a slight increase in all the years. However, in 2020, its gross profit decreased a small amount, also due to the COVID-19 lockdown. It also had an annual average return of 0.41 and standard deviation of 0.12.
So let's talk about Vinamilk, which is the Vietnam Dairy Products joint stock company with the stock ticker VNM. So Vinamilk is known as the largest dairy company in Vietnam, and they are also achieved many recognitions come from the public. So about its business line, so beside the main line dairy, Vinamilk now also work on the whole FMCG industries, as they are also producing and retailing all the kinds of food and beverage. They are now moving on to the real estate, and lately they have also working on the healthcare business. So Vinamilk was first established with the name the Southern Milk Coffee Company on August 20th in 1976. Since then till 2003, they have received many label medals from the government, as well as inaugurating the first dairy factory in Hanoi and many other factories later on the whole country. So in 2003, the company changed the name to Vietnam Dairy Products Joint Stock Company, and the trading code on the stock exchange is VNM. So and in 2006, Vinamilk was officially listed on the HOSE, and since then till now they have continuously expanded the business model and development. And here is Vinamilk ownership structure. As you can see, the company is still majorly owned by the local people. According to Vinamilk financial report from 2018 to 2020, you can see that from the income statement to balance sheet and other ratios, everything is going great. The numbers tends to increasing instead of the ROE, which is witnessed downward through years. Moving to Hafei Corporation, which is HBG. Hafei Corporation is a private corporation in Vietnam, which is starting from a construction machinery trading company. Hafei has now become a multidisciplinary business group. So Hafei is now working on four business lines. First is iron and steel, second is steel pipe, third is agriculture, and fourth is real estate. About Hafei history, in 1992, they established Hafei Equipment and Accessories, the first company of Hafei brand. In 1995 to 2007, they established more than nearly 10 other member companies. In 2007, they listed HBG stock on Vietnam stock market, and in 2010, they turned to 20 years of established and development, receiving the third-class labor medal of the president, and they now also own 11 member companies. So since then till now, they have been working non-stop and developing. Looking at the ownership structures of Hafei, you can see that they are owned mostly by the local. So looking at Hafei ownership structure, you can see that they are owned majorly by the local people. And moving on to their financial report from 2018 to 2020, you can see that there's a right operation, and the numbers are growing up through the years, and everything is increasing since then till now. Talking about our final company, which is Vietnam National Airlines with the stock ticker HVN. You probably have known that Vietnam Airlines is the flight carrier of Vietnam. The airline was founded in 1956 and later established as a state-owned enterprise in April 1989. By the end of 2011, the corporation accounted for about 80% of the market share of air traffic in Vietnam. So Vietnam Airlines work on the whole aviation industry. which including the main part like cargo and passenger transportation. They also do things like manufacturing, testing, navigating, and controlling aviation industry components. And lately, they have also worked on commercial tourism and hospitality service, as well as railways technical and promotional service at the airport. Back to the history, Vietnam Airlines was founded in 1997 and they have joined SkyTeam since 2010. In 2015, they became the first airline in the world to simultaneously operating both Boeing 787 and Airbus A350. In that year, they also introduced the new corporate identity as a warm hospitality and traditional features as a joint stock company. So in 2016, they also received a 4-star certificate from SkyTex, and they have been working really hard since then till now. As you can see from its ownership structure, so this company is owned by the state majorly. And moving to the financial report in the last 3 years, you can see that in 2019 and 19 things goes quite well with Vietnam Airlines, except for 2020 where the pandemic, the COVID-19 going on, and the company actually witnessed the loss in their profit, which has never happened before in the history.
So that is the part of introductions of 5 companies. Now we're going to analyze the risk and return of each five stocks. So first is the annual average returns. So the methodologies we use here. First about the data, we'll use the price of stocks on Cafe F website, and the time period for data will be from April 2017 to March 2021. So before I calculate the annual average returns, we will calculate the monthly average returns using the formula here. Like for example, we use the price of stock at the end of May, for example, minus the price of stock at the end of April, and then divide it to price of stock at the end of April. So then we will have the monthly average returns. After have this number, we will multiply it by 12. So to calculate annual average return of our portfolio, we'll use this formula here. So to explain more, we will multiply the weight of each stocks to its returns and then add it together, and we'll have the sum. It is the annual average return of portfolio. We have this table here. It's the annual average returns of 5 stocks. Hafag, Vinamilk, Petrolymix, Vietnam Airlines, and GIC Corporation. It can easily be seen that the annual average return of HPG and Hafag and GIC are 2 highest compared to other 3 stocks. We can say that Hafag and GIC corporations have better performance. Vinamilk have the lowest rate of returns with only 2.0627. To be more accurate, we decide to calculate more on the rate of return for each year for each stocks from 2018 to 2021. So we have a line graph here for each of the company to show the fluctuations of rate of return of each year. And the green line here is for Vietnam Airlines, and it can easily be seen that is highest in 2019. However, it's dropped down to the lowest in 2020. This may be because of the COVID-19, as airline industry is considered to be most affected by COVID-19. Here are the purpose of line graph here, just to give us as an investor to see the fluctuations of rate of return for each year. So after that, we compare the return of market portfolio and our portfolio. So again, we calculate and we have this number here. Market portfolio return is 0.16 and return for our portfolio is 0.26. So it's about 60% higher. Obviously, we would receive more profit compared to the whole market portfolio. So after we analyze the rate of return of each stock in our portfolio, now I'm going to analyze the risk of our portfolio. So we use three Excel functions: VARP, standard deviations for population Excel function, and the sum product Excel function. So we have a table here. So as I mentioned before, HAFAC and DIG receive the highest rate of return compared to other three stocks. However, for the risk for standard deviations and variance is also the second highest number, and the one who have the highest standard deviations is Vietnam Airlines. This can be explained by the line graph I have shown you before about how it's changed significantly from 2019 to 2020. So it's appeared to the investor to become more at risk. Vinamilk is the one who have the lowest number standard deviations, but it also have the lowest number rate of return. After that, I'm going compare the risk between market portfolio and our portfolio. So for rate of return, we receive about 60% higher than the market portfolio. However, it's come along with higher risk with 0.08 compared to 0.06.
Okay, so in my round, I'll talk about the beta coefficient, and we will calculate and give comments on systematic risk. So, according to Ross and Westerfield in the corporate finance book published in 2016, the beta coefficient illustrates the response of the stock's return to systematic risk, and it can be identified by divide the covariance of the expected return of the security and the expected return of the market portfolio by the variance of the expected return of the market portfolio. So the results we found is that so first beta coefficient for the market portfolio is 1, and for this particular portfolio is 1.14. Overall, 5 chosen stocks have positive beta coefficients, showing that they are positively correlate to the general market risk. And HVN, the Vietnam Airlines stock, has the highest beta coefficient of 1.48, indicating that this stock has the highest volatility compared to the benchmark market. The volatilities of HPG, PLX, and DIG in descending order have the beta coefficients of 1.25, 1.13, and 1.1 respectively. Since the 4 stocks' beta coefficients are all above 1, these stocks are more volatile, or in other words, as a higher level of risk than the market. In contrast, Vinamilk is the only stock having the least volatility among the 5 chosen stocks with beta coefficient less than 1, demonstrating that it has a lower risk compared to the market. And the calculated chosen 5 stock portfolio's beta coefficient is 14% higher than that of the market, pointing out that this portfolio accepts a higher level of risk than that of the general market, yet prospects higher return. So next, I would talk about how we can identify the weight of each stock in the chosen portfolio, which results in the portfolio's minimum variance using Excel software. So the equally weighted portfolio results in a risk of 0.0873 standard for standard deviation and a rate of return of 26.12%. Realizing that the weight of the portfolio can be changed so that the risk can be minimized, we use Excel software to choose to expect and to choose among 7 scenarios in which the weighted portfolios could have minimal risk. And if the investors want to have the portfolio's minimum variance, it is the case of scenario 3. In this case, investment primarily should be made to Vinamilk stock, and money should not be put to PLX, the Petrolimex, and HVN, the Vietnam Airlines. The weight of each stock in the portfolio should be changed to 22.98% for HPG, HAFAC Group, and 75.73% for VNM, and 0% for PLX and HVN, and 1.29% for DIG. Of course, with lower level of risk, this scenario won't generate the best return as other scenario. Scenario 7, for example, where the returns is maximized, and also the investors will face the highest level of risk. So to conclude, we choose to invest in 5 stocks at the HPG, VNM, PLX, HVN, and DIG, and the portfolio's rate of return is higher, and also the risk is higher compared to the market's one, and the beta coefficient of the portfolio is higher than that of the market, suggesting that there'll be a higher level of risk compared to the benchmark systematic risk of the market. And to minimize the portfolio's variance, the weight of each stock in the portfolio could be changed to 22.98% for HPG, 75.73% for VNM, and 1.29% for DIG. Thank you.